Welcome to Film Riot. Obviously, we're not on the normal setup. We're doing a different setup today because we're looking at a new light from Aputure, and it's not an unboxing, but it kind of is in a way. So, I mean, I think this kind of looks and feels like unboxing therapy. Maybe it's Film Riot therapy. No? Yes?
I have no rebuttal.
Can we go with it? Just Film Riot therapy?
I like it.
It's Film Riot therapy. So this is the Aputure AL-MW, and it's the upgrade to the MX. And apparently it's 2 times brighter than the MX, which is not something that I can personally say definitively because I haven't tested it, but that's what they say, and I'm inclined to believe them because they're good people. But off the bat and out of the case, you can see that it's a very small light, but it does have really impressive output. And you have the connection on the bottom here, so you can go right to a stand or an arm or your camera for an on-camera light, which is something that this would be really great for. But again, the thing I'm most excited about when it comes to this is the fact that it's waterproof. So you could put it almost anywhere, outside of your car, while driving, even if it's raining, if you go to some kind of event that has water being sprayed around, or a litany of things that we've done on the show where water was involved and we had to move everything away or just go all available light. This would be extremely handy for all of that. But it also comes with a few things in the case, like these little gel add-ons. So you have a few pieces of diffusion and a few bits of CTO and CTB of different flavors, and you just put those into this little plastic ring here, and then that goes right onto the light, so you can gel the light, diffuse the light, and even diffuse it more with this little silicone cover that goes over the top that actually does a really good job at taking the harshness away from just that bare LED bulb that you get. So then up top here, you have the power button, which is gonna turn the unit on. God. So it's really bright, don't blind yourself. But up top, you have these dimming functions, obviously, which is really great to have on a small light like this, so you can dim it very low to very bright. And then once you take it all the way to its brightest level, you can hit the boost button to increase the brightness a little bit, which is nice to have. You're not really gonna wanna do it much because that's really gonna kill the battery life. And for the battery life, at max brightness, you have 80 minutes apparently. And at minimum brightness, you have up to 24 hours, they say, which is really nice to have because even at minimum brightness, it's doing quite a bit and would be really effective from a distance to get highlights and things like that in your actor's eyes. But also up here, the booster button also acts as your effects button. So if you hold that down, you can switch between the different effects like TV, lightning, fault bulb, fireworks, and paparazzi. So paparazzi is what it sounds like, the idea of cameras flashing on your subject. Then you have fireworks, which is exactly what it sounds like. Fault bulb, which is that more horror vibe that you get when you have that flickering bulb. Lightning, which I shouldn't have to explain either. And then TV, also exactly what it sounds like. And all of these work relatively well. Some don't feel fully realistic, but they're really nice things to build on top of. Plus, if you gel this in different ways and then use those effects, I think you can get a lot of different effects out of them, like maybe gunshots or fantasy or sci-fi type effects, like a magical spell. So adding that effect into your scene practically really helps those VFX. So those are also nice things to have on the unit. So for charging, it comes with this USB-C cable, so you can charge this just like you charge your phone or anything else. So you can charge it using even a power brick when you're on the go or in your car or however else you charge any of your mobile devices. But again, the best thing about this unit is the fact that it's waterproof. You can take this thing in a pool, in the ocean, whatever. I mean, Aputure has a video out there where they are shoving it in the water while they're on a boat. And it's just amazing. I see so many applications for visual effects and practical effects, but also just being able to have it out in the rain if you need to. I've been using this quite a bit because it is a quality light and it feels really well built. Like if I drop this, I don't think I'm breaking this thing if I drop it. It feels really sturdy. So check out the notes below. We'll put some links there for the MW so you can find out more and maybe buy one for yourself. But I don't want to do this anymore, so.
Where were you?
Where were you? So a few weeks ago, we shot this.
Here is your brain. It's gross. Slide. Here is your brain on domain.com.
We didn't have a slide projector for this, and we wouldn't have wanted one either since timing needs to be perfect. Adding that into the mix would have just been a pain. So instead, we shot that using one light and a black piece of chloroplast.
This right here is my Pretty boy swag.
The light was the Aputure 300D, which on that we had their new Fresnel 2X lens on there. This is a big upgrade to the V1 that they had, and it's insanely useful to have for two reasons. First of all, you just snap it on and you get more output from your light. Thanks to the added internal lens, this adapter actually makes your light brighter. And second, it allows you to spot your lens for a more focused beam. Again, making it brighter and giving you more control overall. To flood it again, we just spin this here and there you go. So you can go from spot to flood just by spinning the ring right here. So if you have a 120 or 300 from Aputure, this is definitely worth considering. I'll throw a link in the notes below.
Here's your brain. Here it is.
So we set the light up and we went more spotted in to give us that specific area. Then we use a chloroplast, which is basically just fancy cardboard. And I would just move it up and down to block the light and create the look of the slide changing. Synergy.
Were you just trying to wink?
I did wink.
No, you blinked.
Hey, you know what I'm talking about?
You're blinking.
That's winking. What do you think
You're
winking
blinking.
is?
Both eyes are...
Wink. That's just half of a wink. That's a full wink. So you have a half wink or a full wink.
What?
If you really mean it, you go for the full wink. You know, like an apple box, you got a half apple.
What the hell
and a
is
full
wrong
apple.
with you?
Now with that footage, we jump over to After Effects, and in here, Thompson created a solid layer and then cut out a square mask for the projector area. Then we feather the mask to create a smooth fall off. Then during the frames where the shadow moves for the slide change, he created a new mask, feathered it, and animated it to follow the shadow. Above the footage layer, he created a new adjustment layer and added a curves effect, changing the contrast to make the outside darker, and then he set the layer track matte to alpha invert so that the adjustment layer is using the solid as a matte to affect the outside.
Like da-da-da in the background.
He also masked the left side of the screen and boosted the feathering really high. Then he duplicated the adjustment layer and solid layer, and this time changing the track matte to alpha and changing the curves to make the inside of the projection brighter and pop more. So now we're going to duplicate the top solid layer, and for the slide, we used this image, placed it below the solid, and set the blending mode to multiply to get rid of that white background. Thompson then added a few subtle blur effects to make it more realistic, then keyframed the blur and position at the point where the slide moves. Then moving the position up to match and increasing the blur.
Oh my Lord God in heaven! I'm gonna die here.
Finally, switch on motion blur and set the image layer to alpha matte, and then you have this. And there you have it, a very convincing effect that was a lot easier than I expected it to be. Again, links and things in the notes. Subscribe, click bells, like buttons, and other stuff. Okay, good talk, and I'll see you guys next time when I steal a book with bird paintings.